Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about a case that I've actually wanted to talk about before, but all the articles I found prior were very in-depth and I didn't want to just read an article to you for 40 minutes. I don't think anyone needs to really be put through that. But now I found a shorter article that kind of gives you the big picture of what happened, so I do want to cover it. For once, we are not discussing murder or something equivalently terrible. We are discussing fraudulence, honey. Fraudulence. German heiress or heartless con artist. The Anna Delvey case explained. Anna Delvey lived an extravagant New York City life until she was exposed as a fraud. I have to say, I have a particular, I guess, morbid curiosity about people who live double lives or who are able to convince others that they have assets or abilities that they don't have. Hence why Elizabeth Holmes was so interesting to me, because she convinced all these technological pioneers that she had something that she never fucking had, and she raised millions of dollars. Crazy. In 2016, Rachel Williams was a 28-year-old photo editor at Vanity Fair who had just gotten out of a long-term relationship. She was out for drinks with friends in New York City's Lower East Side when she was introduced to Anna Delvey, a German heiress. Delvey, I'm now realizing? I don't know, we're calling her Delvey. If she can be a fraudulent scam artist, I can mispronounce her name, I think we're fine. Here was a girl in the art scene, a girl who lived in a hotel a la Eloise, a girl with seemingly unlimited funds, a girl with 40,000 Instagram followers, as Williams notes in the latest episode of CNBC's American Greed. Delvey seemed glamorous and generous and cool, and the two became fast friends. That is, until Delvey was exposed as a con artist. Everything from her wealth to her backstory to her name was a fraud. So what's the true story behind Anna Delvey? I don't know if this particularly interests you guys, but the sole concept of someone getting away with being a socialite at the level of an heiress with unlimited funds, I don't know how people do it. I really don't know. Just thinking about creating a whole other persona that is a lie scares the shit out of me. And I mean, it's a different thing if you're creating a persona, like an online persona, where in real life you're a boring ass bitch, but online you wear wigs and are colorful. Maybe me. This is a whole different thing because, well, you'll see. Well, when Williams met Delvey, she was describing herself as a German heiress while living at the 11 Howard Hotel in Soho. She always offered to pay for meals and bottles of champagne, putting it all on her room. Delvey had big plans too. She wanted to open the Anna Delvey Foundation, a giant art gallery space with bars, restaurants, and a members-only club. Her ideal space? The historic building at 281 Park Avenue South in Manhattan. Things all came to a head, however, with a trip to Morocco. Here's what happened, Williams told American Greed. Delvey said she had to go out of the country to reset her ESTA, electronic system for travel authorization, visa, and wanted to go somewhere warm instead of Germany, and she invited Williams along. She also said she wanted the process of creating the Anna Delvey Foundation totally documented. So she would chronicle the entire Morocco trip as well for practice, describing the vacation as a business trip. All expenses were on Delvey, naturally. Williams recommended a friend, videographer Jesse Hawk, and the three, along with a personal trainer pal, all planned a luxe trip to Marrakesh. Of course, from the start, red flags popped up. Despite saying she'd handle all the expenses, Delvey didn't buy tickets. Concerned the day before the trip, Williams offered to buy all 4 plane tickets, each around $1,000 for a one-way trip if Delvey would pay her back. Delvey agreed, then Delvey said she accidentally checked her wallet with her bags at the airport, so she couldn't pay for any drinks or dinner when they traveled to Morocco. Then her credit card simply wouldn't work in Morocco. Williams' credit card instead was swiped over and over again. I don't know if I've been living in California for too long. 5 years and a half is apparently now too long. Most people I've met here, and I don't even live in LA, thank God, won't believe anything about you. Like, you're a piece of shit until, I don't know, you show a bouncer the amount of followers you have and then you automatically get into a club or something. And then people are like, wow. But aside from that, nobody takes anyone seriously, I feel, unless they flex the shit out of what they have. And that's why I never leave my house. The concept of people so openly believing that Delvey was who she said is a foreign concept to me. And I suppose it's the kind of thing where you never believe that it's gonna happen to you, that you're gonna meet the scam artist, or that the scam artist is gonna pick you as a friend. But it genuinely astounds me how people get away with this or other people don't see the red flags. And I'm not blaming them, because in my life, would I doubt that someone is who they say they are? Maybe, but that's because I'm paranoid. If I were less paranoid, I wouldn't imagine that someone would lie about their entire existence, essentially. Right away, I got the sense she was very self-important. She demanded a certain amount of attention the way she carried herself. She was really good at projecting herself the way she wanted to be perceived, that her ideas were unique and noteworthy, Hawk told American Greed about the trip. Eventually, the luxury resort they were staying at, a place where their room cost $7,000 a night, demanded a credit card as they had received no payment whatsoever for the stay. She kept saying the same thing. She was a broken record. I don't understand. I've given you a routing number. I don't know why you're bothering me about this. She seemed disconnected from the urgency of the situation, but kept saying she was waiting for a call to come through, Williams told American Greed. I may be incorrect, but every single hotel I've stayed at ever, to make a reservation, I needed to put my credit card number or debit card number, and they would charge a certain fee in advance to keep the room just in the case that you canceled, day of. I guess she found a way around things. Williams said she felt uncomfortable and pressured, so she put her card down, thinking it was just a hold until Delvey was able to pay. Instead, when back in the US, she discovered her card had been charged for around $62,000, the entire price of the stay, and Delvey wasn't wiring her money back. The illusion of Delvey's wealth was being dismantled, but worse still was the situation with the Anna Delvey Foundation. This gives me anxiety. Imagine having a trip that someone says they're gonna pay for you, so your idea of expenses is minimal, and then you come back with $62,000 on your card. Delvey wanted a $25 million loan from City National Bank to lease the space for Anna Delvey Foundation. German bank documents seemingly showed she had a $60 million trust, but due to her lack of financial history, her loan was denied. Delvey was undeterred. She instead went to Fortress Investment. They were willing to give her a $30 million loan predicated on a background check. They wanted $100,000 to do due diligence, so Delvey went back to City National and asked for $100,000 to give Fortress Investment. City National approved the loan in early 2017, but by May 2017, when they saw they had received no payments whatsoever from Delvey, they contacted the authorities saying they believed her initial bank documents about her trust were simply fakes. Now, I've read about other cases where faking certain bank documents is actually pretty easy, because in some places, and I don't know if this is still the case, but when I was in Italy and applying for my visa as a student to come here, there are certain privacy laws in place, or there were at the time, where they can't really ask you to show your entire statement as much as you need to get a banker to say, hey, they can afford the price of tuition, or they can afford whatever, but that doesn't say like this is exactly how much they have in the bank. So if they just needed something like that, that's not that hard to forge, because you just need to forge your banker's signature, get a piece of paper that has like a stamp or the letterhead or whatever it is, and that's it. However, when it's for this amount of money, it seems crazy to me that people wouldn't take extra steps to confirm that what is being said is true, like communicating directly with a banker in the bank on the phone. I don't know, maybe she had great forgeries, but that's surprising to me. Mark McCaffrey of the New York Police Department Financial Crimes Task Force was put on the case. He told American Greed that he soon learned Delvey was actually Anna Sorokin, a Russian-born woman who had spent time living in Germany. He also discovered Delvey had been doing something called check kiting, opening multiple bank accounts and writing herself checks from one account to deposit in another, knowing the balance in the original account wouldn't be enough to cover it. She would then withdraw the money before the checks bounced. She scammed $80,000 from banks that way. McCaffrey soon got in touch with Williams and added her account to the litany of charges prepared against Delvey. She was also facing charges for skipping out on multiple hotel bills, about $12,000 in total. A warrant was put out for her arrest, but by that point, she had disappeared. It was up to Williams to discover where Delvey had gone, and so she entered into a cautious text relationship with Delvey, attempting to establish trust. She and authorities deduced from details Delvey dropped to Williams that she had checked herself into rehab in California, and not just any rehab, the priciest in the US passages. William arranged a visit with her friend, helping lead authorities to the runaway con artist. The complete disconnectedness of her from the reality of our situation and the way her behavior affected other people was so troubling. I didn't see any other way out, Williams told American Greed. Delvey would be indicted by a grand jury of 6 counts of felony fraud and 1 count of theft of services. Her defense attorney told American Greed he suggested she take a plea bargain as she was facing 12 years in prison. She wanted to go to trial. She got one more shot in the spotlight, which is what I think she wanted, McCaffrey told the show. Her trial was a media sensation, especially when news broke that she had hired a stylist for her courtroom appearances. Pictures of her myriad outfits were splashed across tabloids, and details of her odd behavior in court were leaked. One courtroom reporter told the show she really only saw Delvey show emotion once, on a day when she held the jury up for an hour because she didn't like her outfit. Delvey was eventually found guilty of 5 of the 7 charges. She was not found guilty of stealing $62,000 from Williams, a decision that devastated Williams, as she told the show. Delvey, meanwhile, was sentenced to 4 to 12 years in prison and will be deported to Germany upon her release. That's actually a part that genuinely frustrated me, that Williams' $62,000 weren't counted, because Williams lent that money, and she didn't really agree to lend that much in the first place, but she lent that money under the agreement that she would get paid back because there was this whole misunderstanding. And what can you really do once you're in a country that's not your home? You're there on vacation. It's not like you can just pack up and go home without spending money. That bothers me because it was so clear to me that that wasn't money she really wanted to spend. The whole trip was sold to Williams as being on Delvey. So to kind of drop that on her last minute and then the court not finding that as part of the issue, it frustrates me. It really does. But her defense attorney, Todd Spodek, told American Greed that Delvey will be fine. I think she'll be on The Real Housewives of Munich or something along those lines. I think we will all be watching. Hopefully she'll be able to take this situation and turn it into something fabulous. Netflix is currently working on a series about Delvey with Shonda Rhimes based on Jessica Pressler's New York Magazine article about the con artist. HBO is also working on a project about her based off Williams' Vanity Fair article about her experience with Delvey. Williams also wrote a book about her experience called My Friend Anna as well. So this is kind of a part that weirded me out because I was expecting her attorney to say, I think she'll try to make a positive out of this negative or turn this negative into something positive, but for him to be like, oh, I hope she turns it into something fabulous, to me just seems so kind of disconnected from reality, because it's like, you stole money. The fact that she stole money from an individual, Williams, whether you want to count it stealing or whatever, she took money that wasn't hers and put Williams in a shit position. That's really disgusting, and I don't know how you could not feel guilty about that to at least the point to pay them back or do something or make a plan. I don't know. And as much as I do like seeing documentaries about criminals or people who are just generally weird, I also feel like those documentaries shouldn't be an applause of like, oh, she's so fabulous, she's gonna be in documentaries. It's more like, no, she's a con artist, she's going to jail for it, and we're gonna talk about it because hopefully we can learn something from it. But the way her attorney was talking about it made me feel like he was almost like a fan of hers or something, which is so weird. I feel the same way about fraudulence the way I feel about death threats, in that if you're gonna be a fraud, it's more interesting for me to read about it if you're a creative fraud. Same thing with death threats. I don't want any death threats, but if you send them to me and they're creative, at least I can have a chuckle and move on. Neither being a fraud nor sending death threats are things you should do. So this story was interesting, but contrary to my understanding of how the attorney looks at her, I still understand that what she did, even though it might be entertaining to read about and curious, it still is fucked up. It makes me think that she needs some kind of therapy, because I can't imagine that this is just about money, especially if she's an heiress and wants all this attention. I can't imagine that just being about money and status. I feel like maybe there's something there, like the need for attention to this extreme, or the need to feel superior to the others, or having others be jealous of you. Like, I think something's wrong with her other than what we see. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know how much time you think she should get. Let me know in terms of documentaries how you think they should be voiced in a way where we're not saying, hey, fraudulence is cool if you make it creative, because as we well know, it's not cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right into the